Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment of our program is brought to you by Daniel Hood Roofing. The next time a storm rolls through your neighborhood, folks, call Daniel Hood Roofing. By the way, Bob Hodge, who was on your roof this week?
That would have been Daniel Hood.
Of Daniel Hood Roofing.
Actually, no, that's incorrect. It was one of Daniel Hood's guys.
Ah, well, there you go. There you go.
If Daniel was there, he didn't tell me.
They do good work. Daniel Hood Roofing. The guys on this set can vouch for that because everybody's used him. And everywhere I go, somebody comes up and tells me, hey, I used Daniel Hood and I was very happy that I did. You will be too when you get in touch with DanielHoodRoofing.com. You've seen him on our show. Now see him on your roof. DanielHoodRoofing.com. All right. Danny White arrived from UCF a year ago with a reputation for being a forward-thinking marketer, but he had never been an AD at a program the size of Tennessee's. What's he gotten right in his first year and what's he gotten wrong? This is going to be a little shorter than the Heupel segment because I don't want to get into the ins and outs of, well, he's done this for track. But overall, rights and wrongs. Josh, I know you had the same feeling of wrong that I mentioned in the tease.
Yeah, which I feel like he's righted since then, but the whole text a buddy thing, it became a running joke online. If you have something negative, say text a buddy. And totally get his message. I don't even think he's wrong.
Exactly.
But it's at Tennessee, and Tennessee fans don't want to hear that they need to text a buddy. They're gonna tweet a buddy. Vol Twitter United. So since then, I think he's kind of poked fun at himself. So in the grand scheme, that's a big nothing. But early on, that was maybe an alert to Danny White of what the fan base is.
Exactly.
And how passionate it is always going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that becomes a big deal anywhere else. I think that's a big deal here because there is a portion of this fan base that wants to be offended at all times. Ironically, it's the same group that will tell you you're triggered and a snowflake on Twitter, and yet they are the most triggered snowflakes in the world. But, gentlemen, rights, wrongs, Danny White?
Can I text my buddy Josh Ward and tell him?
Not to say that? What do you got?
Well, I mean, he's talked about innovation too, hasn't he? And did we wonder about that and what he's talking about the stadium? So, I mean, I think that's obviously up there. And made a pretty good hire for your football coach. Brought him from Central Florida. I mean, it seems like he got that right. So that would be,
far.
So far, yeah.
So far.
Tried to go get a couple of other guys that he couldn't land, although I'm not going to blame him considering where Tennessee was when he was out there making that. I think it's interesting that Tony Elliott said no to Tennessee, and then a year later he says yes to Virginia, which that says something about what happened to him at Clemson last year. But also, if you're a Tennessee person, I think you should look at that, and it should make you realize what your job was when Danny White was having to sell it last year. Guy turned you down and then said, but I'll take Virginia.
The Cavaliers.
Can I go for the simplistic?
Sure.
The light show at the night games.
Cool.
It was fantastic. It was a wonderful experience to be there. Now, of course, there's also, Ole Miss right up until a certain point in that game was a wonderful atmosphere to begin with. But the night games with all the light show and everything, it just made it more fun to be in the stadium.
Well, I mean, you got Bandit Lights right here in town, so to go get them, that was smart. Free plug. Go ahead, Jimmy.
They've talked about renovating Neyland Stadium for years. Well, they're doing it.
Yes.
They're finally getting some stuff done over there to renovate it and making different areas and more club seating and so forth. They're going to take the attendance down to less than 100,000, which will be a bone of contention with the number of fans. But based on the attendance we've seen, I don't blame them.
That's right.
So
knock 20,000 out of there except for 1 or 2 games a year.
So, but I think finally to get that done, and they started it right after the last game. I think that's a positive move for this team. And the Tony Vitello contract.
Tony Vitello getting something done with the baseball stadium as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, people don't like change. We talked about this when he was announcing some of this stuff. The older you get, the less you want change. The younger you are, it's like change everything. And I'm middle-aged, so I'm like, I'm for good change.
Yeah.
But this is a guy who's throwing a lot of stuff at the wall, and I'm good with that. That's fine because some of it works, some of it may not. But I like the fact he's trying to juice it up a little bit. Everything from, we're going to have a concert here before the games. Hey, we've put new statues here before the games that you can walk through and show your kids a little bit more of our history. We're going to build a new deck here. We're getting a party zone here. Right down to the one that I had a lot of people comment to me about, small thing, nobody had thought of it before, the sign above the entry gates at Neyland Stadium so everybody could do what the players do. I'll give my all for Tennessee. That's a small, silly little thing.
Yeah, the VOLS
people loved.
coming back.
Coming back.
Sharing that with the fans. Yeah.
That kind of stuff, I think, is a real win. His reputation was for being a forward-thinking marketer. I think in year one he's shown that. Now, he hasn't had to make a lot of hires. We'll see how that goes, and we'll see how Josh Heupel sticks.
I mean, the tougher decisions are coming.
Yeah. But for year one, and I'll say this for White and Heupel, I would use the word shocked. I'm shocked that this program is where it is today, and we're as positive as we are today, considering where this thing was a year ago when they were hired.
Agreed.
So I think that's probably the biggest praise you can give them is, I didn't think we'd be here at this point.
And don't you have to give Dante Plowman some credit too? Because wasn't she the one that really went out there and got Danny White, and wasn't he the first domino that got a lot of this other stuff going?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's some positives. Now, the worrisome thing for me is the 4 or 5 times in the last 20 years we've ever said anything positive like that, it's usually about 24 hours before the bottom drops
Well,
out.
that offensive line's looking good.
All right. A lot of media folks this week put out lists. One of them was, well, I'll tell you what, we're running out of time. I'm not even going to do a tease. You'll just have to wonder what's coming next, but it's going to be good. Come on back.